Hi everyone, welcome to Studio Jake. We've got a great panel today. It's the Oscars Part 3, so be sure to like this video, subscribe, share it out, and of course ring that little bell. I've got my all-star panel with me. I've got Rosemary Dewar, writer for Red Alert Politics and Athens Now. I've got Ezra Celeste, but you might know her as the Sleepy Rebel. And as a very, very special guest, I've got roaming millennial host of Uncensored on CRTV. So this is going to be an epic panel. I'm so excited. Of course, I've actually gotten to meet Rosemary and roaming in person. Sadly, I have not had the honor of meeting Ezra in person, but it's really cool. Ladies, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
So we're talking about, this is the conclusion of my Oscar series. This kind of interrupted. I was doing a special on Dark Knight's medals, which I'm sure y'all, the three of you, are super thrilled about. But we've got, it's a comic book series. I can tell from the confused looks in the little thumbnails. But I interrupted that to do this special on the Oscars. We did 2 pre-shows, one with Alicia Krause, one with Stephanie McWilliams from the Right Millennial. And so now we're doing this with my epic all-star panel. And right off the bat, I was wrong. I'm man enough to admit it. I predicted that Call Me By Your Name was going to be the best picture. I thought that the Academy was just going to give the big middle finger to the world. And but I said that to Alicia Krause in part 1. But also in my defense, though, she was wrong because she thought Get Out was going to win. So, but to our surprise, The Shape of Water comes out on top with Best Picture. And I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. Maybe I shouldn't be. That bestiality beat pedophilia. Who would have known? So we've got what are the? I'm going to start with roaming, and I'm just curious why do you think that they went with The Shape of Water? Because it just seems like, I guess someone told me that it just seems like it's the left-wing dream. It's the communist is the good guy. The Americans are all bad. All the good people aren't straight white males. They all got something going on in their backstory. So,
Right.
why do you think that they went with The Shape of Water as opposed to something that either would have pleased the audience or would have just given them a good pat on the back?
Well, to be honest, I was also really surprised. I mean, I saw Shape of Water, and I liked it. I thought it was weird, but it's definitely the most artistic one. I actually haven't seen the one with the grad student that diddles the teenager. I didn't actually see that one, but I did see Get Out, and I really liked that too. So between the 3 of them, I would have thought it would also have been Get Out, and I actually really liked that movie. But I think The Shape of Water, it's the most artistic one that I think was nominated. I think in a lot of ways it's not very accessible to the average person. My dad's sort of a blockbuster action movie fan. I definitely would not take him to see this movie. And I know Ben Shapiro was talking about it. I think lately, in the 90s and the early 2000s, I think the Oscar winners were also doing pretty good at the box office as well. So it was a period where critics and regular moviegoers alike were kind of like, yeah, we like this movie, this is good. But I feel like the longer things have gone on, the more that the tastes have diverged or something like that. And I don't know, I feel like Shape of Water won because, yeah, I mean, it is a good movie, but it's also one where it's snobby enough that the average person won't like it. And I think the Academy likes that in some weird, perverse way.
Yeah, I can actually see how that would work. Rosemary, why do you think they went with Shape of Water?
So I think it also had to do a little bit with who the director was. Guillermo del Toro is, I mean, his aesthetic is very gothic, and again, it's very artistic. But I think him being a immigrant kind of played into the demographic of it, and I think it pleased the Academy to do so. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a big play into who won and why, not necessarily just the picture, but also the director as well.
Yeah, he won Best Director.
Now, and one thing I'm not a huge Del Toro fan. Like I thought Hellboy and Hellboy.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong? Well,
what a big
Roman, your mic's messing up just a little bit, just so you know. Yeah, I know. I thought his I liked Hellboy and Hellboy 2 comic book movies, so obviously I like those. But I don't really get his style. And Ezra, maybe you can clear this up for me. What is it about him that captures everyone's attention?
I think it's because he does that artistic kind of stuff, and like Rosemary said, it is very gothic, and so it does come off snobby. And if people don't understand it, they're not going to actually say that they don't understand it. They're going to go, "Oh, no, it's just artistic. It's his style. It's artistic." So I think that plays into a lot of why that movie won. The fact that it does come off as one of those snobby types of wins, and no one is going to say, well, I didn't understand it, I didn't get it. They're going to try to go with the elitist movement and say, well, you just don't understand him, type of thing.
And yeah, that's probably true. And I think the last snobby film that I thought actually deserved to win Best Picture was The Artist. That was actually a pretty good movie, but you definitely saw in it, like you're saying, like I was saying, Del Toro is kind of he's a Mexican immigrant who actually makes his films in Canada, but then gets all his money in the U.S. And then it had all these themes to it. And one thing I talked with Stephanie is I'm kind of tired of, oh, this film is good art, ergo it's a good film. It's like Logan had good art, I guess, but it was actually a pretty terrible film. It was. I know I'm in the minority here. I was actually giving some of my Daily Wire colleagues, I was throwing shade at it. I said, what was my exact sentence? This is classic. I got to share it on StudioJake. I said, if I wanted to see a bad remake of Pale Rider, I'll watch Missionary Man with Dolph Lundgren, which is a terrible B movie, by the way. But anyway, to me too, the atmosphere of it was, we're better because we're celebrities. And you definitely got that from Jimmy Kimmel's monologue. The only funny part in that whole ceremony was when he brought out the kid that was supposed to be him when he was younger. That was the only part that I thought was laugh out loud funny. Sometimes he had some pretty witty comebacks, but what is this where the Academy is, they're trying to repeat things, hoping for a different result. We would call that insanity. And Rosemary, I'm curious, why is Jimmy Kimmel, why is he held in such high esteem with kind of these high profile Hollywood elitists? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think Hollywood thinks it's the new punk kid. It's this we're fighting against the man thing, and they're the open ones, they're the artistic ones, they're the inventive ones, but they don't actually see how closed-minded they are. It's like even with Get Out, I'm sure Sidney Poitier would love to see his work basically turned into a horror film. So it's like all Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is all about getting rid of bigotry. And I feel like all that they did is reintroduce it and call it something that everyone should be proud of. Mm-hmm. And for them, being actors and producers aren't enough now. They don't want to have like their own separate nonprofit to do something. They want their stuff to make profit. And I feel like they are making an effort to try and make money off their agenda. And they're finding out that there's a demographic that likes it. And then there's another demographic that are quite tired of it. And they don't know what to do. So they're like, well, we have this idea and we think we're right, and you guys can just live with it.
And I'm gonna shoot this question to you also, Roaming. Is I feel like when Jimmy Kimmel first started out, he was really funny. But to me, I feel like he's kind of doing that whole race to the middle thing, where online YouTubers and whatnot, they're like Steven Crowder, for instance, they're actually doing better. People are turning to YouTube and Dailymotion and Metacafe. Well, maybe not Metacafe, but they're turning to these alternate spots, and they're using subscriber-based platforms like CRTV, like the Daily Wire. And I feel like in his race to try to compete with that, he's, which to me, his interviews showcase this a little bit, is I feel like he's pandering to a certain specific crowd to carry him over. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, I think the thing with Jimmy Kimmel is, I'm not a huge fan of late night, but over the past, I'd say 7 years, I've seen clips of his, and I always thought, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. But I think lately, over the past, I don't know, maybe 2 years, he's really kind of locked down this whole celeb activist shtick, and I think that's kind of dangerous for late night shows, because I mean, it's kind of, I think, getting to the point where it's so much activism, political commentary, there's barely any comedy left. And I still think that Jimmy Kimmel, he's probably a funny guy, but I think he's so busy shoving these messages down our throats that he's not even leaving room for comedy anymore. And I didn't watch the entirety of the Oscars, but I did tune into the highlights, and every little, I don't know, segment that I saw, it's like, you know, this about Me Too, which, I mean, I get why you would talk about it as celebrity, because it's kind of like, it's your issue, it's your community that's performing all of these sexual harassment, I guess, allegations and things like that. But I don't know. I was kind of disappointed that they invited him to be the host, because I think people are tired of having celebrities preach their virtue to everyday people. And I think when you have someone like Jimmy Kimmel, who's kind of known for that right now, hosting the Oscars, I mean, you watch it, it was an entire, I mean, you had people talking about Dreamers and stuff. It's like, how is this relevant to movies, what you guys do? And I mean, I even remember there was a part where he was talking about, gosh, what is that movie with the grad student and the younger teenager boy?
Oh, Call Me by Your Name.
Call Me by Your Name. I keep forgetting about it. Yeah, so you know, he's mentioning something about, like, you know, we don't make movies like Call Me by Your Name for the money. We make it for the. It's like, wait, hang on, you're Jimmy Kimmel. You don't make movies like that. Like, you are not an artist who makes these like profound movies. You are a comedian. You might be cozying up to these A-list celebrities now, but this isn't your thing. You're here to make us laugh, but you get sidetracked about politics. Like, you are not yourself a filmmaker like they are.
And Ezra, I'm curious to know, because, by the way, I want to thank Ezra because she volunteered to watch the Oscars for this panel, and so
which I kind of hate you. Like, within the first 5 minutes, I was like, I hate Jake. Why did I agree to this?
Hey, you volunteered. I did not ask. I was like, what do you, as our panel watcher, what do you think was the most cringe-worthy moment of Jimmy Kimmel's performance, or just in general?
I think for Jimmy Kimmel, it was just, I mean, within the first, I want to say it was like the first 45 seconds, he mentioned Trump of the beginning. It was like, I forgot exactly what he said, but it was already starting off. And so his entire opening speech was just so political and horrendous. But I think that the most cringeworthy moment had to be from Lupita and the guy from
Silicon Valley, that guy.
Yes, the guy from Silicon Valley. Did you watch that little bit where they compare themselves to dreamers because they're immigrants? Oh my gosh, that was awful. I was ready to change the channel. I mean, I was ready to change the channel at a lot of points, but at that point in particular, where they're going, we're the dreamers too, and trying to make jokes in between, trying to be heavy and political, was just, that was the most obnoxious moment.
And now I meant to ask this when we were still talking about Best Picture, but I forgot, so I want to bring this in. Does anyone have like an alternative that should have won Best Picture? It doesn't have to be from the list of the nominees. Like, for instance, I think Baby, and Rosemary got to hear me rant about this one time when I had her on previously, is I think Baby Driver should have won Best Picture. I thought it was the best picture of 2017. And I'm a superhero fan, and it was superhero Candyland last year. But I thought, just unbiasedly, I thought Baby Driver was the best. It should have won Best Picture. If not that, then Dunkirk, I guess. Ladies, we'll start with Ezra. What's a picture that you think should have won Best Picture this year?
I would go with Dunkirk, but also because there's not a whole lot of them that I haven't seen. So I did see Baby Driver, which was awesome. I did not watch. I haven't seen the Fish movie, so I really don't know if that's if it was worthy of its big picture win. I did see a little bit of the Call Me by Your Name, and it was terrible. So I was going to go with Dunkirk. I knew that it wasn't going to get it, but that was my hope.
Oh, Roman. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, Roman, do you have a best, you want to throw out a Roman Millennial Best Picture?
I actually just pulled out the list of 2017 films on my phone because I have real trouble remembering what came out when. Because like Get Out, I do think it was very good, and I went into that movie not knowing anything what it was about. So like when the subtle racism like was kind of thrown in there, I had no idea that was what the movie was about. So I was kind of like, what? So I actually really like that movie. I don't think I would say it's not really Oscar worthy in my opinion. I think Logan was very good, but I think we're seeing a trend now where they don't really like to nominate action movies or big blockbuster movies. And I'm not sure if Logan is kind of there. Baby Driver. So one of my favorite directors is Guy Ritchie, and I feel like Baby Driver was kind of like in the vein of Guy Ritchie, but I wanted like a little bit better. It was almost too much style, not enough substance with the actual storyline. So that's really hard. Gosh, I don't know if there's one I would say like, yes, this one is amazing. There have been movies this year, but I wasn't kind of awestruck by anyone particularly.
Well, just so y'all know, if Avengers Infinity Wars doesn't sweep all categories, the next year's panel will be called the Anti-Oscars panel. But anyway, Rosemary, do you have a Best Picture pick?
No, I'm already going to call it. It's like next year it's going to be completely anti because the only thing it's probably going to get is effects, and that's it. And that's if like something else super extraterrestrial doesn't come out at the same time. I really liked Baby Driver. I like the soundtrack. I love the director, and the ending of Baby Driver was interesting.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. So I think if I had to pick one, it'd be Baby Driver for sure.
You didn't like the ending, Roman? I kind of liked it. I thought it was good.
Because I'm a big suck, and I like everyone to, the good guys. Okay, mild spoilers, sort of, but the movie's been out since July, so it's your own fault if you haven't seen it yet. It's just, it's bittersweet, right? I mean,
it's bittersweet. That is true.
Yeah, and I'm a complete suck. I hate anything sad, so I guess I wanted more of an uplifting, like he doesn't.
The guy's the girl. Like the guy still gets the girl. He still has to go to jail because he did do something bad. It's like,
I want him to go to jail. Because I like him.
But I honestly think that it was really good fun. I'm kind of like you, Roman. I know Andrew Clavin and Michael Knowles. They like all their movies to be sad. And so it drives me nuts because they're always recommending these movies with these horrible endings. And like Logan, like I thought and I know this would have been a more comic booky ending. So spoiler alert, I hate Logan. So if I give away anything, tough. But the movie's been out forever. So, but there was the last scene where he's fighting the younger version of himself. I was half expecting there was like one of the young mutants was a new telepathic mutant, and what I was expecting to happen was him to switch out the bodies, so the older Logan would be in the younger body, and then the clone would die in the old body. And I think I would have liked the ending better because then the new X-Men would have had like a leader to guide them, kind of like their own Professor X. But whatever. It got Best Adapted Screenplay, which I thought didn't really deserve it because I've read Old Man Logan, the comic it's allegedly based on, and it's nothing like it. At least X-Men Apocalypse and X-Men Days of Future Past tried to keep the context of the story. But anyway, enough of that. Now, there were 3 speeches that I thought were actually good that they didn't grandstand. I thought Gary Oldman's speech was very well thought out. I thought that the guy who won Best Cinematographer, I think, for Blade Runner, I actually found out he had been nominated 18 times, and he finally won. He finally got his Oscar. And then, what was I can't think of the other people, but off the top of my head. But besides that, I was kind of like surprised because they had Kobe Bryant do an Oscar speech for that animated film he worked on. And I'm kind of like, wait, didn't Kobe Bryant make a deal with a girl who accused him of sexual misconduct? So I was kind of surprised because to me that kind of shattered the whole Me Too. And Roman, I'm going to throw this to you. besides that, I thought that was like a glaring hypocrisy within this. And what would you say, like, as far as with all the Me Too rhetoric, did you catch any other things that you thought, this doesn't really work well with this narrative?
Well, I think I'm trying to remember other specific moments, but I think the whole thing with the Me Too thing, and even like Jimmy Kimmel making fun of the Oscar statue and not being able to like harass anybody, and all the celebrities that are laughing, and people like, I think Emma Watson had the Time's Up tattoo. Like, it's really, I mean, it's great. It wasn't real. I don't even know what.
No, it was. She had, the grammar was wrong. She just put Time's Up with no apostrophe.
Yeah. The thing with all of that moral grandstanding and virtue signaling is that had Harvey Weinstein's accusers not come forward, he absolutely would have been on board with the whole thing too, right? So like, with things like, I mean, Kobe Bryant being there, or even the fact that people like Roman Polanski, is it him? Yeah.
Oh, you're right, Roman Polanski.
Yeah, Roman Polanski. The fact that so many celebrities continue to work with him, people like Woody Allen, same thing. I mean, I don't really go to Hollywood celebrities for my moral grounding, and I don't really expect a lot of them either. I mean, like, go ahead and get your 100% divorce rate, that's fine, but it is kind of, I think, frustrating when we see them sort of acting as if they're the moral arbiters, when, I mean, there's so many problems that we're discovering go on in their own circle, and the only time they actually like come out and speak out against is when it becomes this huge PR opportunity. So I mean, yeah, I don't really put much into that. I don't know if anything's going to change in Hollywood just because we talked about it at the Oscars. We wore black and pins, therefore it's fine now. No.
Ezra, this question is for you. Where was Rose McGowan? Was she even in the audience?
I didn't see her at all. No. Yeah.
She's the one who kicked off the Me Too movement. She wasn't at the Golden Globes. She wasn't at the Screen Actors. She wasn't at the Screenwriters Awards. Nowhere to be found. Where is Rose McGowan, the very woman who launched Me Too? And Ezra, I want you to stay on this for a minute. Why has Hollywood kind of been giving her the snub? She's the one who gave a voice to the Me Too movement.
Because they don't actually want the movement. There's something that Jimmy Kimmel said about how the world is watching us now, so now we have to act like we're caring. He didn't exactly say, we have to act like we're caring, but he did say the world is watching us now, which it's true. Now Rose McGowan is the one that brought the spotlight to them. Now they have social media. They have their Me Too hashtag. So he's correct. The world is watching them, and that's all they care about, is we're being watched. So now we have to pretend or act like we care. And we have to make all these big gestures and wear the same colors and blah, 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 blah. But it's all just a grand gesture to try to please all the people. We're not seeing Rose McGowan because she actually cares, and she is PO'd. She's not going to show up to those things.
Yeah, same with Corey Feldman and Kaya Jones.
Exactly.
Although I did see Joy Vila there, which surprised me a little bit, but I'm surprised they let her in. That's why I'm surprised. But Rosemary, I want to toss one to you, and maybe you can help clear this up. Why was Ashley Judd on there to lecture people about Me Too? Because right after the Harvey Weinstein story broke, she went on national television to say, "Oh, I'm praying for him. I hope he gets help. He's my friend." And then a week later, he tried to do the same thing to me. So why is Ashley Judd, Miss Nasty Woman, up there lecturing us about Me Too? And maybe this goes off of what Ezra said a little bit. What is this fixation with Ashley Judd, who's not even really that good of an actress, to be honest?
Yeah, no, she's playing the Hollywood game correctly. She says that I'm a victim, but really doesn't give any names other than Harvey. And Rose McGowan is just like, no holds barred. I was victimized. This is the problem. And I'm ready to name other people because other people have talked to me about other situations. And Hollywood doesn't want to fix it. If they did, they would have gotten rid of people like Woody Allen and Roman Polanski. But they don't want to do that. They want to say, it's like, we're changing the culture by keeping it open-minded. And I'm like, you guys have no idea what you're doing. You guys are choosing to keep people victimized instead of actually fixing the problem. And it's like they want to keep their friends, they want to keep their money, they don't want to name names. That's the big no-no. Say you're hurt, but don't tell them who did it. And that I think is what's kind of going on with that scene.
And, you know, it's funny because, like, one of the big criticisms of the movement has been their refusal to reject Woody Allen, you know, famous director who's known for making films about creepy old men going after 16-year-old girls. And now I think he's about to do a new film about a 14-year-old girl and a 40-year-old man. And
so he just makes movies about his life, basically.
Yeah, basically. But I'm curious to know, because the ratings showed, and as much as Jimmy Kimmel wants to blame Netflix and Hulu, the ratings show that America is not listening. At least, you know, maybe a certain portion of the population is, but it was the lowest ever. They broke records for how low it was. And I mean, that's just being honest. And this is going to go bring us into our final section here. But Roman, what do you think they're going to do next? Are they going to continue to double down, or are they going to go, oh man, maybe we should reevaluate this?
That's hard to say, because I could easily see it going either way, right? Because if there's anything Hollywood loves, it's, you know, liberal, progressive politics and virtue signaling. However, they also care about the money as well, and they want people to see their movies. If we stop seeing all their movies, they're screwed. So what I think happened with this year is that, I mean, people kind of know when we tune into these award shows now, we're going to be lectured about politics, because that's just how things are now. And B, they're not even talking about movies that the average person is interested in anymore, right? Like, where was Thor Ragnarok on this? Like, where was
Wonder Woman?
Yeah, Wonder Woman. People love Wonder Woman. So it's just, you know, they're kind of going further and further into isolating themselves away from the average moviegoer, which is awful, because guess what? The moviegoers are who support you. Going forward, based on what Jimmy Kimmel has said, I really don't see a lot of self-reflection there. I would love to think like, oh yeah, you know, they're thinking of ways to tone things down politically and make things more accessible and fun and enjoyable. I don't think if this Oscars was any indication, I don't think that's going to happen though. And I think probably there's going to be a drop next year as well.
And Rosemary, I want to bring you in on this point, is as the mainstream Hollywood films like The Shape of Water, which did not gross over $100 million, as Jimmy Kimmel pointed out, neither did Call Me By Your Name. And we're seeing, though, like Marvel Studios, places like that, which I know people don't really, you know, except for guys like me, they don't care about the artsy-fartsy crowd doesn't like those films. But we're seeing Marvel Studios and even Christian cinema, which forever has been ragged on, those movies are making money. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, Christian cinema, it's like for good reason, in my opinion. For a long time, it hasn't been good. But. Yes,
exactly. They're finally starting to make headway. Like, we see people like Brian Bird, Dallas Jenkins really stepping up to the plate. But Rosemary, my question was going to be, do you see us going to, these, because Pure Flix, which makes a lot of these Christian films, they're based in Nashville. They're not in California. I think they do have a studio here, but their actual headquarters is in Nashville. Do you see like a room for these smaller studios that are going to project family values and heroism and things like that? Do you see that Americans are going to go say, hey, I don't want to go see Shape of Water 2. I'm going to go see God's Not Dead 3, even though I may not like it. I'm going to go still watch it so I can take my whole family to see it at least.
Well, first of all, I have 2 words for you, Jacob. Inclusion writers. This is going to be the gravy train of Hollywood. This is going to be no different than diversity directors on college campuses. And movies are going to become more expensive to make simply because of that type of attention to movies. I do think that there's going to be a secondary market for not necessarily conservative, but more libertarian movies that actually mean something. It's like as much as
now with Death Wish.
Yeah, it's like as much as we have a lot of these superhero movies, they're kind of like getting away from like morality message, and they like they're cool stories, but they don't mean anything. There's no
whoa. I'm sorry, but go ahead, continue. Sorry.
It's slow. I mean, you look at Logan; it's slowly moving in that direction, and I think there will be a secondary market. I do think that that eventually the audience is going to create a secondary movie guild, and the public is going to pick what they like eventually. I think probably see within the next 3 to 5 years. I think that's probably going to manifest that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Ezra, this I'm going to throw this one to you. Does Jimmy Kimmel come back a third time? Is third time the charm, or do you think they're going to actually pick someone funny?
Well, I don't know if they're going to go with someone actually funny, but I don't see him coming back, especially since the ratings were so low this year. I mean, seriously, within the first 45 seconds, I was ready to shut it off. So if that's any indication of what the rest of everyone was feeling, I can totally understand why the ratings were so low. Just those first 10 minutes were horrifying.
And that's
not horrifying. They were just very, very depressing.
And that's true.
Not funny at all.
And we're going to see, like, because even though I disagree with Chris Rock, Seth MacFarlane, and Jon Stewart on politics, and even Billy Crystal, they were still at least good hosts. You could still watch those shows and have a good time. Like Seth MacFarlane killed it. I mean, he was hilarious. So even though his messaging was poor, I still had a good time. And
exactly. Chris Rock, the same. Chris Rock, I think, is my favorite. Oh, he's hilarious.
He at least brought out Stacey Dash, right? Who's probably one of the most outspoken conservative actresses in the industry right now. So, you know, of course, he didn't bring out James Wood, but he brought out Stacey Dash, and I still thought that was pretty cool of him. All right, last question. It's for each of you. I'm going to start with Ezra. I'm going to say, what film are you looking forward to in 2018?
Ooh.
Rosemary, Roman, be thinking about it because y'all are next.
Not fair, ladies. Not fair. I honestly have not even, like, I'm still waiting to see Black Panther. I still haven't seen that one, and I still haven't seen Death Wish. So I'm still trying to catch up with 2018 now.
That's fair. All right, so I see Roaming and Rosemary are both on their phones, so I'm gonna go out there. I'm actually gonna go see Death Wish this week. I'm super excited. I am too.
I'm lined up to see them, so I'm excited. I will finally catch up to the rest of the world.
I'm very excited. I hear that for all the reviews that I have read have said that, you know, obviously it's not Oscar worthy, but it's definitely, it's kind of like, it's a B action film with an A-list budget, and I always love those. I am most excited for Avengers Infinity War. I've actually been rewatching all the Marvel films leading up to it, much to my wife's chagrin. She puts up with it. She's amazing. And I'm also looking forward to now it's gonna escape me. God's Not Dead, A Light in the Darkness. There, I said it. I'm looking forward to this film. I liked the first two, and I think the third one's going to be amazing. So I just threw that out there. All right. Roman, what film are you looking forward to seeing in 2018?
Okay, well, I'm going to cheat because there's more than one, and I can't choose. A Quiet Place. I saw the trailer for that just this past week when I was going to see Annihilation. Annihilation wasn't good. I mean, it was good, but it was weird. So A Quiet Place, huge fan of horror, huge fan of both Emily Blunt and Jim Halpert. So excited for that. Rampage, I just love The Rock. We'll definitely be seeing that. Pacific Rim Uprising, I'm a little bit disappointed that they're not keeping the original cast, but I love the world that Guillermo del Toro created with that. Ocean's 8 and Jurassic World, the next one. I'm going to go see them, but I have a feeling I will be disappointed by both of them, but I'm willing to try them out. Right now, what I'm actually most excited for, and excited for and really putting a lot of hope into, I hope it doesn't disappoint me, is the new Lara Croft movie. Just because I'm a huge fan of that franchise. I'm a big fan of Alicia Vikander. That Ex Machina chick, I think she's great, and I'm really hoping that they do a good job and don't kill it. I know people who are complaining that it's too soon for a reboot, but I think it's been long enough.
Yeah, and also it's a video game, so I think it's fine for them to keep rebooting video games. That's basically what the video games do. I mean, have you not seen the last 5 Sonic the Hedgehog games? But anyway, Rosemary, to you, what are some films of 2018 you're looking forward to?
I am looking forward to Venom. I want to see Tom Hardy do his thing really, really badly. I do want to see the next Jurassic Park simply because Pratt is awesome. Aquaman is coming out. I do want to see him do his thing solo. And Emily Blunt is the next Mary Poppins. I'm wondering to see how they're going to butcher it. And the new Tomb Raider. I'm kind of looking to see what they kind of do with it, because I love the dynamic of her trying to reconnect with her father that she's lost. So we'll see how they play with that this time.
And Ezra, I'm gonna swing it back to you because I kind of caught you off guard. So I'm gonna let you have the last word here.
As far as what?
The films you're looking forward to.
Oh. No, I'm honestly, Avengers sounds rather exciting, but I'm still not all that excited about a whole lot of them that are coming out. I think I'm just becoming way too cynical about all the movies, because I haven't really been thrilled and ecstatic about any of them. So I'm kind of going into 2018 like, well, we'll see which one is good, but yeah, I'm not all that excited about cinema right now, which is such a disappointment.
Well, that's fine. We've in the meantime we've got Netflix and Hulu. So
exactly. Oh, I love television shows.
By the way, I'm going to shout this out. The best documentary of last year was not the one that won the Academy Award. It was Batman and Bill, which is a Hulu exclusive documentary. Check that one out. Ooh. So, and all right, ladies, before I let y'all go, Rosemary, I'm going to start to you. Where can people start with you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at RLYNND1.
And Ezra, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Sleepy Rebel.
And special guest, Roaming Millennial, where can people find you?
So if anyone subscribed to CRTV, you can find my episodes on there. Otherwise, I'm on Twitter at RoamingMill, just MIL at the end. And I'm also on YouTube at youtube.com/RoamingMillennial.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter at RealJacobAiry. Instagram is real.jacob.airy. My blog is jacobairy.blog. I guess you can guess what my Facebook is. It's author Jacob Airy. And of course, you can find me here on the YouTubes, StudioJake, where I do all kinds of movie commentary. I do comic book reviews, and I share my reading list. You can see some of the books I'm reading right now. Yes, I'm reading 4 at a time. And of course, you can find my news commentary on dailywire.com. Thank you so much, ladies. This was a fantastic panel, and I hope to see you all 3 again sooner than this, but also for the 2018 Oscars, or excuse me, 2019 Oscars.
For sure. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.